it's Jo again from Blooms at Borrowdale. Hi, good afternoon. It's a gorgeous day today in Lincolnshire. How are you all doing? We're getting used to it, aren't we? So I thought I'd do you another video. Very simple, just using a few bits out of the garden. Nothing much, don't really need any foliage for this one, which is always a bonus because this time of year foliage is very fresh. And it's difficult to get hold of, apart from if you've got any good evergreens or anything like that in the garden. So I've got a few nice bits to work with. So very basic container, you can use anything you like. You don't want anything too tall, but you want something either square or round, oblong, it doesn't really matter, but preferably clear. If you can get clear, it's better. And what I'm going to use for this initially is some of these dried birch twigs. Now I get these from my wholesalers, but you can use any twigs that you've got in the garden and dry them off. But these are dry and so a little brittle, can't be manipulated particularly, but very good and sturdy because they've hardened off a little bit. And the first thing I'm going to do with them is just first of all take this elastic band off. And I'm going to cut them in half, exactly in half. Just holding it like so and just cutting the whole bundle in half. So cut that across. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use these cuttings, once they've been gathered up, just to place inside the container. So if you're coming to the end of the season, obviously the foliage is all starting to come back into the garden now, so we haven't got the luxury of having bare twigs in the garden anymore, but we've got the luxury of all the new growth coming back in. So, but back end, when all of your foliage is gone from the trees, or birch is ideal for this because it's thin and quite wispy and it works really, really well. Cut it from the tree and then leave it to dry, and then you can use it in all sorts of arrangements. I use birch twigs all the time. I think they're really versatile and you can use them for lots and lots of different designs. So we're going to pack these into here so that it's fairly tight, but not that tight that you won't be able to get anything else in. And it's a form of natural mechanic, so it's a way of supporting your plant material. And if you fancied a few taller pieces just to mingle in, but that's enough. There's plenty of room for me to be able to separate those and put some other bits in, but not too much room that it won't be supportive. It's a very fine line between enough support and too much that you can't get anything else in. So just make a nice structure. We've got some height in there as well, which is nice. I'm just going to use a few other bits just to place a little bit more structure into there. Okay. You could use some thin dogwood for this, but I find birch, because it makes a good broom, doesn't it, birch? When you collect it together, it makes a good broom, and that's what you want, that compact, yet light and airiness that you only get from birch, really. But collect it back end and try it yourself, or cheat like me and sometimes get it from the wholesalers. So the flowers for this one, so that's it, very simple, foam free design. So we need some water, so I've got some water in here. Just place some water into there. And then the flowers that I'm using for this, I've got some hellebore, still got some hellebore, and of course they're hardening off now. They're starting to go to seed, which is the best time to use hellebore because they're much hardier. I've got a little bit of contorted hazel, and this is just starting to come into leaf, so I'm just going to place that piece of contorted hazel in just into one side, down into the water, just to create just a little bit of extra greenery and a bit of extra structure into the mechanics that I've already got in there. Okay, Just a little bit of extra movement in there, that's really nice, and that extra bit of foliage. I can't wait for these to come out in the garden every year. I'm overly excited about them. Solomon seal, it's a beautiful plant. Got these gorgeous little dangling white flowers, little bell flowers in there, but really, really beautiful. So I've got a couple of 3 of those. So no foliage, no greening up for this, no having to put foliage into place for this one. So just a couple initially of the Solomon seal, and just placing them in between the twigs so that you can, again, it's enough that it's holding those stems in position, but it's allowing me enough room to be able to put something else in. Okay, so I'm working into the design, and I've also got some dogwood, and this is just starting to go to form its flower buds as well. So and it's a lovely fresh green, so I thought ideal for spring. So just a little bit just into the container, just to bring a little bit of extra green in through to the design. Bring that colour right down into the structure of the twigs that you've created. I think I said before in the last video that I really enjoyed working foam free because it's a really interesting, it's just an interesting way to work, and it's freer, and you don't have that density of foliage. I've got some gorgeous broom. This is a white variety. Little flecks of a very fine cream in there as well, but a really, again, with the birch, very light and delicate like spring is. So I've just got a few bits just to dot through. I'm taking a little bit to the back. I'm going to take some of these side shoots off and use a piece taller into there. That flows quite nicely into that position there, and then just move them around if you need them, just to place them, just show you those birch and the broom in there. And then we've got a couple of side bits just to take that colour down a little bit more to that one side. I'm just going to pop a little bit into the front as well there. Another piece of Solomon seal, again, just to put in quite low. Just bring that through to the front of the design there, just to hang over the front, just to follow that line through. Okay, so we've got a little bit of hellebore. I'm going to take the leaves off the hellebore so that it doesn't bulk out the design too much. We don't want too much bulk, so just be careful and just take some of the leaves off. Okay, so we're just trimming it down from what it was, which quite a lot of leaf, quite bulky, just taking it down. And then just inserting them through the twigs and into the design. So we've just got a little piece there. I'm going to put a piece to the back just for a bit of depth into the design. Again, I'm going to take these leaves off and lessen the dominance of that foliage and really show off those flowers and the twigs. So we've got a nice angled cut at the base of the stem. I'm just going to use a little bit of birch popped out there. You do have to be careful when you do this design that you make sure that all your flowers end up in the pot. Just manipulate those wherever they need to go. Okay, so we've got some for depth at the back there, which is really nice. And then I'm just going to take, let's get a piece with just one on. This is a nice piece. Okay, take that foliage off. Just Just be careful when you're taking the foliage off that you don't pull it too far. Just get that into that corner. Just draw your eye round to the other side. Now I've got a couple of beautiful tulips out the garden. This is a lily variety, really beautiful. It's got a really nice cerise pink edge, back of the petal there, and quite orange, and I love the contrast between the two, so they're going to go in quite central. And of course the pink and orange go so well together, it's a really nice combination. So we've got one tulip there, and of course the tulips will continue to grow. Once they're in water, they do continue to grow. They do grow quite a lot as well. So I'll show you those two tulips in there, and they'll continue to grow through. I love that combination. And then we've just got a few bluebells. The bluebells grow relatively long in my garden, quite and very prolific. They grow all over very easily. So just a few, just to tuck in. Nice tall one there. We'll put that one in over here. Make sure we've got it inside the container. And then we'll just push these in. Between those twigs. Very soft stem on the bluebells, so you just have to be careful when you're pushing those in. And then just bring a little bit down to the front. Just to bring that lovely spring blue. It's a time for blue, isn't it, spring? It's the best time for blues. Is spring. One more there, which I think we'll just put down into here, cut that quite short. Just bring that colour right down to that bottom side. So, just going to change that piece there, just for a slightly more delicate piece, if I can. That's a nice piece. Foliage off. So a nice easy foam free design using any container that you may have at home. Doesn't matter what you use, just so long as it's ideally clear, because what you don't want is to hide the lovely twig structure, because it's a big part of the design, the twig structure, so it's the last thing you want to do is to hide it. And just whatever you can get hold of in the garden. It doesn't have to be anything elaborate or anything. Whatever you can get hold of. Use your structure to help you. Got a little bit more of the dogwood there, might as well put that in. Just bring a little bit more of that to the back. Waste not, want not. And just a little bit more down to the base there. Okay. So, I think we're about there. There really is no need for any foliage into this design. It doesn't need any foliage. I'm adding this little bit of dogwood, which just brings a nice limey, fresh green colour to it, and just brings that spring greens in. But it's really not necessary at all. I'll just take that off here so you can see. Tidy up a little bit. Okay, so just a very simple design. Using that twig structure, it's a really versatile structure, just a few flowers from the garden. you're retaining a little bit of height. So 1.5 to 2 times the height of the container is good proportions. So just measuring that, we've got just over 2, which is okay. And then just bringing the colour through into there, a little bit of height, some interest. You can take the leaves of the Solomon seal if you find it too heavy later on when the leaves are quite big. You can take the leaves off and just have the stem with the bells on. That equally looks nice. Or, you know, if you feel it's a little bit too heavy a foliage, just take a few leaves off and just trim it down a little bit if you feel it's a little bit heavy. Got a little bit of movement with the contorted hazel there. Just that little bit of white just to lift the colours through, and then contrasting that really nice pink with the orange tulip, which again will continue to grow. It's a really simple design. You can use it for any season. I use it all the time. It's brilliant. I hope you enjoy it. And I'll be along shortly again with another video. So for now, thank you. Bye.